you have a set menu, or sometimes I'll refer to it as the tools icon, kind of the pliers and screwdriver down here. These are things that you can set up for the machine based on the way you sew. Things in here that are set are remembered for when you turn the machine off. They do not clear until you manually clear them out. So we can look at the first, we'll just go through all of them. P foot or presser foot pressure, so you can adjust the pressure of that foot if you want to override what your machine is doing. Sensor foot auto, where it's automatically sensing how that foot is coming down on the fabric. I would leave those on because it's just so much easier to do. Twin needle, when you touch the off, you'll notice that you can put on a twin needle of various sizes. So if I put on a 3.0 twin needle and touch OK, and then come out of my set menu, you'll notice that you'll have a picture that the twin needle is on. Also, I said it will remember it when you turn the machine off and back on, and this will be right where you left it, but you'll get a special message. So if you forget, oh, that's right, I left the machine set up for twin needle. So that means it's going to limit like your width for your settings. So if you forgot, you can come back in, set your twin needle back to off, and then you'll be okay to continue on. Good. Stitch width safety. This is a box you can check if you get a throat plate with a single hole. And by doing that, and then coming out of the set menu, when we pick another stitch, so for, let's go zigzag, which is stitch 5. Notice it doesn't let me move the needle position or set any width because it's limited to just a straight stitch only in the center needle position. So that's why that is highlighted and you'll get a little message. But once again, if you put that throat plate on, which is great for straight stitching, for free motion stitching, you won't forget you have it because it remembers it from each time you sit down to sew. Free motion floating foot. This is going to be the foot R that you have in with your machine. You can use this for some free motion quilting, but because the machine automatically sets the foot down for you, you have to tell the machine, don't put this all the way on my fabric, kind of come down and float. So that is why you would have to turn that on if you're doing any free motion quilting. Now notice you have another option, free motion spring action. That is the purchase separate foot. It's a little bit more of a bouncy foot with a spring in there. It is a little better foot for free motion quilting, so if you're not getting the results you're looking for with just the one that comes with the machine, splurge, get the other one, and then you'll check the second box. I'm going to scroll down on the side here. You'll see that your fix auto, you definitely can turn that off if you don't want it to be fixing or locking the stitches at the beginning or when it's automatically set to do it. You can actually remove that. So if you don't like it always locking at the beginning, you want to use the manual like reverse button. That is, you'll want to turn that off. The cut, you can turn the scissors off so it doesn't do it automatically where it is set for certain stitches. You can have more control over that if it's cutting where you don't want it to cut. The alarms, if you don't want them to beep at you, you can go ahead and remove those so it's not loud. Contrast, that would be for the screen contrast if it's getting too dark or too light, or depending if you're sitting next to a window, you can make that lighter or darker as needed. Lots of languages in here. Well, comes in English to the United States. Buttonhole balance, if it's not balancing out properly, one side is a little heavier than the other, you can adjust that there. Your version of what is currently the version of this machine. And the last one might be something you need to do if it gets the screen gets hard to touch. Calibrating the touch screen. Let's go ahead and touch it. Touch the center of the cross and use the stylus to get an exact calibration. So now that I've actually touched it, I need to go through this. If you ever get to a point where you're trying to touch an area of your screen and like the next stitch or function over is being selected, or it's really hard to touch your screen, that's usually what it is first, because people keep touching it and it gets harder and harder. The two screens have kind of offset themselves, and so what you'd want to do is just calibrate. So I'm going to take my stylus, I kind of need to lean in here, there we go, and we'll get right into the center of those two little pluses plus the one in the center, and then that should calibrate it back up. And it does. On occasion, they just get a little unbalanced, and that will fix it perfectly. When you're done here, touch the tools or the set button, and you're back to the last stitch you're on.